Hello and welcome back to lesson number 2 in this 3-part series on the lead continuity course. My name's James McCracken. I'll be your host once again, and our focus today is very much on how to turn your clients into advocates and referrers of you and your brand. And it should be noted that one, there's an opportunity to create more structure and consistency in how you go about creating advocacy with your clients and how you go about having them become promoters of your brand. And secondly, as promised in the first lesson, I very much want to keep this practical and easy to follow for you so that you can be more effective in terms of the effort that you're putting in and the rewards that, in my opinion, are probably justly deserving, because I'm sure that you do go above and beyond, that you do pride yourself on the quality of service, and that, if anything, a referral is very much a reflection of that service proposition that you deliver. With that said, it's also important to acknowledge that there's many instances of people that have been known to say on paper that they will recommend, that they've been known to be extremely happy with the quality of a service, but they haven't gone on and endorsed it. They haven't gone on and verbally or actively promoted it. And it's not because they don't want to. It's mostly because it's not front of mind. And that statement is really important to understand, because when we look at that pillar of, we've got attract, we have deliver, and we've got maintain as those 3 separate functions or units within your business. The maintain one is equally important to ensuring that you can leverage and maximize the ongoing opportunities that are available to you. So it's often not that we need to, as I said, be filling our pipeline with lots more activities. What we need to be is often more effective with the resources that we already have, and one of those resources is your clients, and I say that in a respectful way, of course. So hence the overarching objective is not just to have a person on your trail book for whom you collect a commission each month. It's to have a personal sales team that's out there flying their flag and helping endorse you and introduce and recommend you into their networks as often and as frequently as possible. It's also worth recognizing at this stage that one of the reasons, in fact, I would suggest it's the key reason why people refer, as much as they may appreciate you, they may trust you, they may even really value your service. Let's say that's all a given, and that's why they are recommending you. At the end of the day, they want to look good to their friends. They want to help their friends or their family, their work colleagues, etc., and that their key overarching goal is to feel good about themselves. Putting aside the fact that you might be mortgage broking and that you're providing the service you are, we all recommend all of the time. Whether we're talking about a water bottle that we've bought that is just like I look at the one on my desk, it's stainless steel and it'll last forever, or a book that you've read, or a video, like that. The same concepts apply, is that we want to do something that's helpful for other people, and we want to feel good in the process. And if as a byproduct of that the manufacturer of the water bottle gets another sale, fantastic. But that wasn't my key intent, to make another sale for him. My key intent was to help my friend. And similarly is that your clients want to help their friends, their family, and that you're the means to make that happen. So the better your capacity to maintain those relationships, keep front of mind. Clearly, it is going to create longer term advocacy, which will maximize the dollar value per client. So let me give you an example of a business that does an outstanding job of this. They're called Vinomofo. Vinomofo are an online wine store, and their philosophy, or their mantra, if you like, is not about having a sale being completed at the point when someone's completed the online shopping cart, which is part of their process. They see and they believe that a great client experience and essentially a sale is completed at the moment when the person has received the bottle of wine, and when they've opened it up, and when they're swirling around the glass and enjoying it and the ambience of the glass and the wine on their couch at home and the taste, when it hits their palate. That's what Vinomofo want for their clients, and it's what they embrace. And that's it's also part of the reason why they've created a culture, not just around selling wine the same as everybody else, because there's many an online wine store, but they're very much about the experience of enjoying great wine and being able to share that and helping their clients, make the most of it. And again, it might sound potentially a bit unusual or a bit abstract, but when they set that as the benchmark and then they deliver on it, well, clients essentially engage differently with that brand than what they might do with another business that might have had a cheaper bottle of wine, but for which there was no after-sale service, there wasn't any care, any engagement with the person. It was simply just and I say it in inverted commas, a very simple transaction. Now, I'm prompting you with that example because whilst you also can transact with your clients and you can facilitate, the loan process, when you go about that, I want you to think about your process not just as one that gets the job done, but for which is one that's memorable and rewarding for your clients. So I know, for example, that there's brokers out there that are highly efficient with their process. They in fact give clients very little time to sit in front of them. But what they do as a consequence is that they don't engender trust. They don't engender advocacy, and clients have generally average experience. So if you could have like three faces, one of which was unhappy, one was neutral, and one was glowingly happy. Very much the clients that I'm referring to of this particular broker would tend to sit in the middle category of just not getting more or not getting less than I expected, just getting what I expected. Now, bearing in mind this particular broker would spend only 15 to maybe max 30 minutes in an interview, and often a lot shorter than 30 minutes. My point is that he's not taking a great deal of time to, hold hands, to communicate, to get to know people, etc. So he has an efficient process in that regard, but not effective from the point of view of, and I say in inverted commas, promoting these people to become advocates of his. So with your process, maybe the opposite could be true, is that yours is effective because perhaps you do extra appointments with your clients, which might cost you extra time, but for which you receive greater loyalty and advocacy. And it's not an easy balance to get right between making sure that your process works well from an efficiency point of view, and that you deliver at or above your service promise in order for them to have the best experience with you. But I'm certainly just bringing it to the fore as part of the conversation because I do want you to think through that as you get engaged with your clients. I also think that it's important for you to contemplate how you want your clients to engage with you and engage with your brand. Now, even if you're a business of one, what I mean by your brand is what you stand for and the experience you want your clients to have. Or said slightly differently, what do you want them to be saying about you when you're not in the room? Do you want them to be saying that you're efficient, that you're highly caring, that you go above and beyond, that you spend extra time with them? That you teach them things they didn't know, that you provide a better service and result than what they'd do if they did walk down the road to the bank, and so on and so forth. And the reason I prompt you to consider that question is because it should then allow you to ensure that the actual process that you take your clients through reflects what it is that you want them to be saying about you. So there's no right or wrong with this, and there are different ways to go about it, but it's important to have clarity around not just the technical delivery of your service, but the experience that your clients are having of you and your business as they go through that process. And when it comes to what you want them to feel, again, it might be things like you want them to feel certain or confident or excited, or that they feel like they've got peace of mind, or that you've got their back, etc., etc. So the reason again that I'd like you to consider that is because the better your capacity to design your process and deliver on it in a way that does engender itself towards not just trust but advocacy, the easier it is to then have your clients become your personal sales team. So one of the steps I'd like you to think about and very much you could implement this if you wanted to in your business, is to use something called an expectations agreement at the start of the process when you're working with your clients. So, for example, let's say that you're sitting down at the first interview with them. Now, before you get out the calculator or you start running the numbers, which you may have already done an initial data collection form or a needs analysis prior to understand their general capacity. But let's just say you're sitting down and you wanted to kick the meeting off. You might start the meeting by saying, look, Mary and John, look, before we get into the detail here, I'd really just love to hear your perspective on what you'd expect out of me, and how can I make this a really great relationship for you, because I just want to make sure that we're on the same page and I'm delivering on what it is that you're expecting. Now, chances are that your client's not heard a question like that from other service providers before, be it a financial planner, be it a lawyer, be it an accountant, and so that most likely it's going to take them a moment to think about that and say, oh, okay, well, now that you've asked me, or maybe I could that you keep me in the loop, or maybe what does a good experience look like? Well, it could be that you are just giving us the right advice, or that you're open and honest, or that you're reachable, that you respond quickly. Whichever the case is, it's a valuable question to ask, because it allows you to understand what they would like out of you as their advisor. If they don't happen to answer the question well, which is also fine, it's an opportunity for you through your expectations agreement, which could be a simple one-page document, where on the left-hand side you say, these are the expectations you can have of me, and you might list them down there and say, look, I'll be open and honest in all of my dealings. I'll be focused completely on your situation to make sure I can deliver the right service and result for you. I'll be accessible between these hours. I will, where appropriate, introduce you into our networks to make sure that you're getting access to the professionals that will help you achieve the result that you want, etc. So the point is that you're able to establish some baseline expectations that they can have of you, which absolutely will make them feel more confident, and it will certainly allow them to have more trust with you, and very, very quickly, which also will contribute favorably towards just conversion and advocacy. What you also should have on your expectations agreement on the right-hand side is what you expect of them. And you would say that to them, look, I also have some expectations of you. Number one is that if I do something that concerns you or upsets you, please let me know as soon as possible so I have a chance to make it right. Is that okay? And they will say yes. And then you say, great. So could you please be open and transparent with me in all of your financial situations so I understand the entirety of it and can provide you the appropriate advice? And they'll say yes. And the reason you do that, of course, is because it just mitigates the potential for them to not tell you things that you should be aware of that will obviously impact your recommendation. And thirdly, you essentially position for referrals by planting a seed, and a very obvious seed, by saying, look, my goal is to provide the absolute best level of service I can for you in this situation. And I'd like you to think about two people that you think I can also help, so that once we're finished your loan application process, it allows me to continue working with other people like yourself and provide the very best level of service I can. Would that be okay? Most of the time, people say yes. And what you've essentially done is let them know that you would appreciate a recommendation into other people. You've given them a specific number, which is not a big number, and you've just planted the seed for, look, my goal is to deliver the best service and solution I can for you. Now, I've had one instance that comes to mind as an example of when a particular broker was dealing with new clients, and they've been recommended to him because they had a previous broker who was unavailable. So my broker, my client, was in servicing these people for the first time. Now, it was quite a tense situation to start with, because the clients had their previous broker, who already knew all their financial situation. They weren't looking to have a new relationship, though they couldn't access their previous broker. He wasn't available. So my client essentially said, look, I think that it's important that you understand, if I'm to work with you, that you understand a bit more about the service I provide and the expectations that you can have of me as your advisor. Would you mind if I was to take a moment just to walk you through that process, please? Which essentially was code for, I'd like to walk you through my client expectations agreement. Now, I don't know the exact words he used, but essentially I do know that he pulled out his agreement and he had the wife and the husband sit down, and bearing in mind the wife was particularly tense, and she was the one who was feeling less comfortable in this particular situation. So after he walked them through this document, and it took a couple of minutes to do it, it really appeased the situation greatly. They felt like he actually had their best interests at heart. They felt comfortable to talk with him and answer his questions, and at the end of the night he walked out with their commitment, or in other words, the loan application. So it made a significant difference, and a very, very quick difference, to allow that client to move forward comfortably, confidently, and knowing that in this situation, the broker was able to provide them the service and support and level of trust that they were hoping and expecting, and it was what they'd previously experienced with their prior broker. It should also be recognised that the fact that they wanted to deal so badly with their previous broker is a reflection of the high quality of relationship they did have with him. Notwithstanding your ability to set expectations via some type of template like a client expectations agreement will absolutely and profoundly make a great difference to your positioning and to the engagement that clients will have with you as they go through this process. Another example of one situation where a client of mine, and this is going back a few years ago, he was working with, he was a financial planner and working with his clients. And early on in my working with him, I asked him, I said, what do your clients value about you and your business? And he said, well, actually, I really don't know. Which was a little concerning, because even though he was doing okay in his business, it clearly had room to grow. He wasn't getting much business through referral. It was all coming through. He wasn't getting much business through client referral specifically. He was getting business through professional referrals. And so we designed a template, very simple template, that was a one-pager, and the intent of which was that he could call some of his existing clients, ask them for feedback, and then use that as a vehicle to help redefine how he was going to the marketplace and the service he was offering. What was interesting about this situation was, firstly, that he was a bit nervous about hearing the potential feedback, and secondly, that we designed it in a way that we subtly asked for referrals, and I'll walk you through what I mean. So he framed up the conversation. He said to his clients, look, my goal in the conversation with you today is to, have received very candid, forthright feedback from you, because I want to learn how I can continue to deliver the best possible service to, ensure that you're able to receive and achieve your personal financial goals. And I've got a few questions, and I'd love to, receive your take on these, please. So he framed the conversation up nicely. What he did expect was that the clients would only be spending 3 to 5 minutes with him on the phone call, so giving him some very, very, quick feedback. And it turned out that clients were they were extremely welcoming of his phone call, and he ended up spending about half an hour per phone call, and in some cases longer than that. And he, as it so happens, clients told him about different things that he hadn't previously known, and he was getting extra business out of these existing clients, even though that certainly wasn't his intent. What he found out, though, was that they were happy with his service. They absolutely felt comfortable with him and what he was doing for them. And when he asked the ultimate question, which was to the tune of saying something like, look, Mary and John, look, I really, or John, because he was only speaking to one of them at a time on the phone, I'm really appreciative of the feedback you've provided so far, and I just appreciate you candid to this question as well, which is that I'm just wondering, what would I need to do, or what will cause you to want to recommend or introduce me through to other people that you care about? And when he asked that question, what was really interesting was that most people said, oh, well, nothing would need to happen. In fact, I'd be more than happy to do it. As in, would you want me to do that for you? I didn't know that you wanted referrals. Is that what you would like? And as hard as that sounds to believe, that these people didn't and weren't thinking about him and recommending him, that was absolutely what they were hearing. What he was hearing was that they didn't know that he wanted them to refer their friends, their family, and other people that he could provide his service to. Now, it was very eye-opening for him. They absolutely said, "Oh, look, there's nothing else you'd need to do. I'd be more than happy to do it." And unexpectedly for him, he received many referrals out of that within quite literally a few days, and took on several new clients in a very short period of time, which is obviously very good for his financial planning practice. Now, I realise as a mortgage broker, the nature of your conversations with your clients are not going to be as frequent, but notwithstanding, what a valuable question to ask. Perhaps at the 30-day mark, perhaps at 60 days after settlement, or maybe at, even beyond that. Or alternatively, is just around settlement time. Take your pick, right? You can implement this where you feel it's appropriate within your process, but be sure that you would like and expect your clients to become advocates of yours. What's also important to understand is that you don't do it just once and then not keep in contact with them. And that's why that third pillar around maintain is about keeping front of mind ongoing, because firstly, we want to make sure that they do know to introduce you. The second thing is that they are aware of the types of conversations that might be an opportunity for you to, be recommended, i.e. when they're speaking to their friends and their friends say, we're thinking about moving. Well, obviously opportunity to introduce you. Look, we're thinking about, going on holiday at the end of the year and, just need to save up to, make that happen. Again, maybe that's an opportunity to do a bit of debt consolidation, perhaps, or a refinance of their home loan, maybe. So again, different scenarios like that can arise will help make sure that your clients have got the right blinkers on. Blinkers on meaning that they've got their radar up for looking for opportunities for you and proactively recommending you into that process. So it's more that you're manufacturing or orchestrating the opportunity than it is that you're leaving it to chance. So that's why I think it's not only valuable to get great client feedback and turn those feedback opportunities into advocacy sessions, is that you can also make sure that your clients not only are aware that you'd like referrals, but they understand more about your service, and also that you would want them to be proactive around that, not just if they stumble across someone who essentially sort of falls in their arms and says, "Oh, look, do you know a mortgage broker?" which, is going to be less frequent. The other thing to appreciate about this process too is that the more proactive you are around it, it is going to influence people coming to you. So, yes, it's nice to receive the phone calls that are unexpected, where people say, "Oh, look, I was just speaking to such and such, and they said I should call you." As I said just a moment ago, we want to orchestrate and manufacture your potential to keep front of mind in the short, the medium, and the longer term through the appropriate touch points, and ensuring that it's not just keeping clients happy, but it's helping clients understand the types of people you would like to be introduced to, because the clearer you are on who you would like a recommendation to or an introduction to, it just makes it easier for people to whittle through the options. Compared with, for example, those scenarios where if you've ever been to a networking meeting and someone says, "Oh, look, if you know anybody that's got a pulse and needs to borrow some money, well, absolutely, give me a call and introduce me in there." Well, that's not going to produce, almost certainly that won't produce a referral. But if you said something very specific like, I specialize in working with first-time property investors that are looking to start building, their asset base for their future, and a great referral for me is someone that's a pay-as-you-go employee, less than 40 years old, and really looking to start getting, financially ahead. Again, it just starts painting a picture for people to make it easier for them to understand the potential opportunities. So with your process, bearing in mind what we've just covered off, I want you to think about how you can refine what you do in terms of either setting expectations at the start of the process, or potentially educating clients through the process, or seeking your feedback along the way, or seeking their feedback. And incorporating that so that it's predictable, so that's reliable. And as I say here in this slide, it's just one improvement that you can make and that you can implement to make it repeatable, because as per this slide, the better it is embedded as a process, that you'll find it easier to repeat. Certainly where it's appropriate that you have other team members helping you with some of these points or parts of the process as well, is that they can also take ownership and responsibility over it as well. So I do want you to think about, if you're not setting expectations, that the potential and the power of doing that. I do want you to think about the opportunity to see if there's any aspects of your loan settlement process that potentially could be enhanced, not just from an efficiency point of view, but from an advocacy point of view, because it's better for the client. Or is there anything you could do post the application in order to seek feedback and or engender the clients to want to become referrers of yours as well? So my commitment to you, as I said, was to help make things practical, make sure that they're functional, allow you to implement them straight away. And I certainly would want you, and I encourage you to go about doing that right now. Hence this slide, and asking you to allocate a little bit of time to follow through on this, because I want you to get results. I want you to enjoy this process, and I want you to take ownership over it so that you can really start to build it into an effective lead generating and client retention process that's going to help, obviously build great value for you and enable you to do more work with the right types of clients. So in lesson 3, I'm going to be telling you or walking you through some strategies and tactics you can use to help take more control of your time, give you more ownership over what it is that you want to be spending your time doing, and then utilizing that in an effective way to obviously maximize your effectiveness as well. So until then, take care, carpe diem, and bye for now.